Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid. I'm your host, Jake Thomas, and today's guest is a guy that I've been tracking for quite a while now because I'm such a fan of his voice, and you'll know once he comes on. But my God, does this guy have an amazing voice. He's got about 500,000 subscribers across all channels online. He's a well-known personality in the carnivore community now, picking up a lot of traction over a short period of time. In his own words, the carnivore diet has changed my life, and I've seen it change countless other lives as well. It's one of the simplest ways of eating, but for some reason, it's daunting. I couldn't agree more. He's gone from fit to fat to definitely fit again, and is known for simply not giving a rip. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ray Hicks, a.k.a. Carnivore Ray. What's up, man?
Jake, you made me sound way better than I am. The second they heard my voice, I guarantee they're let down. They go, oh, you made me sound so cool. Oh, that was a good intro.
Yeah, man, it's easy. It's good stuff to read. Yeah, like I said, I've been following you for a while and definitely wanted to get a chat on record. And it's cool to see you go from, like you say, fit to fat to fit again, and what's worked for you, sharing your story with people, and just kind of like talking before offline with you. It's neat to see. I mean, you cross country, massive weight loss and gain and loss again, and obviously feeling better, doing better personally, professionally. Like, how did it all start for you, man?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I guess very beginning, my heaviest, I was 315 pounds, which I was strong. I used to squat over 500 pounds. So I definitely had muscle, but I was just a ball of fat and muscle. And after, football ended, I didn't have some extravagant football career, but after that was over, I kind of just came to the conclusion that, hey, unless you're getting paid, unless you're some NFL lineman, there's really no reason to be this big. And so just started counting calories and, working out a ton. I was working out twice a day and, would lose 20 pounds and, stall 20 pounds and stall, and got down to 212 pounds. So lost over 100 pounds, 103 pounds total, which was cool. It didn't last. Life happens, and some people, they resort to food for comfort. That's me. It's been my comfort ever since I was a kid. And so slowly gained the weight back and didn't get up to 315, but I did get to 295, which is kind of where I found the carnivore diet. And it wasn't even for weight loss. I saw, most people have probably seen this clip, but Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson talking about it on Joe's podcast. And you got Joe Rogan saying, I was cutting weight super quickly, and mentally I felt phenomenal. I felt so sharp, and thinking, well, weight loss, that'd be a cool benefit. But Jordan Peterson, hearing him talk about the benefits he experienced mentally, depression, just going away. That's something I've dealt with for as long as I can remember. The latest back I can think of is probably about 12 years old. That was depression. And so I had taken, antidepressants before successfully. So I'm not dogging on antidepressants, but ended up coming off of them, got to a place where, felt good. And sure enough, I just found myself back in that same dark headspace. And so I'm thinking, well, first of all, this may be the dumbest diet I've ever heard of. Surely that's not healthy. That was my initial reaction. But then again, Jordan Peterson's talking about it. I love him or hate him. I have a lot of respect for him. When I look at Jordan Peterson, I go, that's a man that is careful with his words. He wants to come across well. He's not going to say stuff flippantly. And so if he and his daughter can do it for years with severely compromised immune systems that got healed, surely I can do this for 30 days. And so, August 1st, I started. I thought this was going to be a diet that I started and didn't stick to longer than like 2 days. But day 3, days 1 and 2 felt normal, didn't have any weird symptoms or keto flu or, a lot of what other people experienced in the beginning. I just felt normal. Day 3, it felt like I was a new man. Number 1, I felt skinny. I wasn't skinny. I felt skinny though.
Nice.
So that was really cool. Um, mentally, it felt like I was taking these little happy pills. I'm talking, there were no issues in life. There were, but there were no issues. And if there was an issue, I could fix it. If I couldn't fix it, I wasn't worried about it. And it sounds like such a simple way of thinking, but for somebody that's truly struggled with depression, it's not as simple as just, I'm just going to change my thought process.
Sure.
Diet plays a huge role in that. And so mentally feeling good, and then feeling sharp. What I was getting done in a day at work, I was having done by noon, which is unreal. Whatever line of profession somebody's in, whether it's physically or I'm a loan officer, so I'm sitting at a desk all day and typing, talking to people. But for me to have that much work done in such a short amount of time, that's unreal. And then knee pain. This is one of my favorites. The mental health, that's number one. Number two, I've had knee pain for over a decade, which you would think makes sense. He was overweight. Well, yeah, but I was also fit at one point, and I still had stabbing knee pain. I was this fit at one point and still had the stabbing knee pain. Third day. So not some crazy, lost 60 pounds or 90 pounds and then, it's gone. The third day, still chunky monkey right. Just gone. It was just gone. And I'm thinking, this is nuts. This is, surely it'll come back, but this is kind of nice. And it hasn't come back since. And it was just inflammation. And so, yeah, fast forward 30 days. So we're at August 30th, August 31st. And I'm thinking, okay, I gotta make a video about this. I'd lost 35 pounds. Like this is unreal, which I've lost weight before. Quickly
not
before.
Counting calories either.
No, eating
not
truly whenever I was hungry. It was that simple. In being somebody that's always tracked food, specifically when I was dieting, I would measure everything and meal prep, and it would be to the very ounce or gram or whatever. I was just eating as much as I wanted to, which on carnivore, especially in the beginning, usually isn't a lot for people, just because it's so filling. But 35 pounds in less than a month. And so I just make this video. Okay, this sounds nuts, but I've lost X amount of weight, my knee pain's gone, and mentally I feel good, and just openly talked about it and posted a video to TikTok. I thought maybe 2 people would see it. Got 1 million views, and you had all these people asking questions, and so I just started answering them with more videos, and fast forward, it wasn't my goal to do carnivore and talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd stick to it. And it certainly wasn't my goal to create a social media presence around it, but it kind of just happened so organically. It's been very humbling and very fulfilling to see people with real problems. While my transformation's been incredible, I recognize that. I would say it's nothing in comparison to what a lot of people experience on the carnivore diet. Because you can lose weight doing anything.
Yep.
The knee pain, while I'm so glad it's gone, there's much worse things in life than knee pain.
Yep.
And so seeing people with lifelong diseases and ailments just disappear and say, hey, I saw you talk 3 months ago about this and I started, and this has been my experience. What? It's just nuts. It truly is nuts. But that's, I guess, kind of in a nutshell. I've lost 90 pounds total. I feel phenomenal. Weight loss, again, cool. That is at the bottom of the totem pole for what I've experienced.
Yeah. God, man, that's awesome. God, that's awesome. And it's kind of like it sounds like you said, you weren't choosing to do this. It wasn't like in your goal, on the mood board, like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to journey it, log about it, vlog about it, and see what kind of fire it catches. But it just seems like you got compelled. It sounds like you were compelled to share. And then what continues to compel you to share is the response and feedback that people are giving you. and saying and their gratitude or asking their questions. And you were probably like, man, I didn't plan for this. I didn't budget for this, mentally or
Yeah.
emotionally. And now you're like, you're neck deep in it. No?
Yeah. It gave me goosebumps hearing you say that, compelled. I think that's probably the perfect word for it. Experiencing what I've experienced, I think I would be doing the world a disservice to not talk about it, which I
I agree.
fully recognize. It can be annoying. If you don't want to hear about carnivore, and that's, all people are talking about, that's annoying. Take any subject and fill in the blank for that.
Yeah,
But if you experience something so life changing, whatever that is for somebody, you would be a fool to not talk about it.
I agree. I think that's, in any sense of self actualization or personal growth, development, fulfillment, journeyman kind of stuff. By the very nature of it, it's about selflessness and
Mm.
sharing. You kind of go through these things in an isolated state of, it's an individual sport, if you want to call it that. But what
Mm.
fun would it be to not play that with other people or be able to share that with other people? And I watch your content and hear your message, and I know you're not doing what you're doing to brag. You're
Mm.
doing what you're doing, or the way I perceive it, because you're like, I just gotta get this out because
Yeah.
I don't want to just hog it all. It's
Yeah.
like, it's so simple. It's stupid. The way it makes me feel is ridiculous for what it might appear to look like to the outsider or to the
Yeah.
ignorant observer. And you're just like, I just want to just get it out, get it out, get it out.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. It's too good of information to withhold. Like, even I have a carnivore community, so people can pay to be a
Nice.
part of this community. And I'm very vocal about, hey, this is not needed. But like, this is one of the simplest diets somebody can do. Grocery list is very, very easy.
Oh
You
yeah.
don't have to track anything. Uh, I've never done or heard of a diet that's as easy as carnivore. And everything that I've posted, I say this all the time. If you just scroll through my videos, you'll know how to start carnivore and be successful on it. But if you need community, this is a good outlet for it, but it's not needed. And yeah, I love it because I do see some people talk and they're kind of the opposite of, hey, join, 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 join. And I get it, especially, if that's somebody's business.
Yeah.
This isn't my business. Like, this isn't my, source of living. I've got a job, and, I do well at my job. And um, while this is fulfilling, it's just, yeah, I, I don't want to gatekeep information, you know, you know,
That's deep. Man, that's the truth
it's,
though. Like, it goes in line with something else you were talking about, being, about the world needing a certain type of person. You were referencing the world needing good men
mm,
specifically,
mm-hmm,
and having the voids of those in your own life. And if I were to connect the dots just from listening to that post you'd made about that, and knowing what I know about you, it sounds like you're trying to embody that yourself. Trying to be someone that maybe you didn't have, and you're just trying to give that away to the world. It sounds like.
that's exactly it. That is, I'm not a dude that gets goosebumps, but I got them second time. Um, that is it. I grew up with either absent dads or really bad dads, or shoot, good dad or good father figure that gets taken away. And so I've just always had this just concern around men. Okay, men bad, or men absent, or men good but they'll leave or get taken away. And believer, unbeliever, if you go to church, I have no idea, but I serve at my church's kids ministry, so I help with elementary school kids, middle schoolers, high schoolers. Because if I didn't have that, my life story, and I think this is very intentional on God's part, the universe, whatever you want to classify it as. If there was anything that I could take credit for, if there was anything to say, hey, this is what I did, I would. I'd be a very arrogant, asshole, to put it lightly. There's nothing in my life that I can point to and go, this is what I did. I made this. Look at it. It's all been just by grace of just, here you go. And so to be anything less than the men that I had been around, mentors, buddies, dads, coaches, golly, what a sorrowful story that would be. And so, yeah, it is trying to live up to that, of those men that changed my life, because they're even more so now. I'm young, I'm 26, but in the last 26 years, the rate of fatherless homes, it's only increased, and it wasn't good back then. And so, it's no wonder the world's so shit. Pardon my French, but it's the world is nasty, and we need great men and women. But I think a large part of it, men, you got to step up.
It's the truth, man. God, this guy's a leader in his church youth ministry group. Jeez, like now we really can't hate him.
Some still do, but
and I'm glad you mentioned about the physical benefits that you have benefited from as being byproducts and not being the primary focus, and talking about how, dealing with depression and your own struggles with mental health since you were an adolescent, 12 years old, and how much that meant to you to clear that up, how much the knee pain going away 3 days in cleared it up. And then a couple other things you noted. And then you were like, yeah, but it was also great to lose 100 pounds, obviously. But most people are going to look at that first. Most people are going to see the exterior, the superficial, the material change, the physical difference, and go, that's what I want. That's what I need. That's the key to life. That's the key to my happiness. That's the missing link for me to have fulfillment. I couldn't agree with you more when you're talking about those other things at the forefront, because it's true. Because if someone is just trying to say, hey, just give me some abs or give me this butt or, help me change the way I look, you'll still be poor, even with a bunch of abs. You'll still be a prick. You'll still be depressed. You'll still be sad, loathing, whatever. Like, that's not going to change that. But if you do like what you've done, man, my mind feels amazing. I feel like I'm on these limitless pills, to take your words. I feel good. There's still terrible, tough things going on around me, but I feel good. I feel like I can do these things. I feel like I can get through this. Like, everything will be okay. Just this positive sense of ability that you're kind of talking about. And then, oh yeah, I lost some weight too. Cool. But all that other stuff seems like it feels better, and is more, requires more loyalty from you than does the physical part.
You're spot on. Have you ever read the book, It Starts With Why?
Yeah, I had to read it in business school of all places, but yeah.
Simon Sinek, yeah. And that's so true for just overall health and wellness. If I'm going to do a diet because I want abs, that's not a bad reason. If that's what you want, that's great. I hope you get them. But there's zero weight to that.
Yep.
It's going to benefit you. What? Taking your shirt off at the pool, going to the beach with friends.
Yep.
If you're, that'll benefit you in very limited areas of life. If I say, hey, Jake, I really feel like I'm supposed to do something special on this earth. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm supposed to do something special. I don't want to die before I'm supposed to.
Yep.
That's a weighty why. Or, if I've got a wife and kids, I don't want to leave them husbandless or fatherless. That's a weighty why. Abs, good goal. It's overall health. I want to do something in this life. I want to have a legacy. I just want to be a greater man. Really good why. And I think a lot of people lack that. And so you see people, and I've done it myself. You yo-yo diet. You go back and forth between these things. That there's no true weight behind what you're doing. If you don't have a good why. And not that you can't still succeed with just, hey, I want abs, because you can. But if you don't, I would say don't be surprised.
That's the truth, man. That's the truth. And I you've been there. I've been there. You think it matters, you think you did it, but then in the background, you're still like me. I was, still a drunkard or a consumer or a womanizer or whatever title, and just mindless consumer of things, of anything. That was my fix. Didn't
Yep.
matter what I looked like. Anybody can slap that on. Yeah, you work for it, but like you said, it doesn't change what's inside. You just put a body kit on yourself, and it's still the same effed up car underneath the hood. So
Yeah.
but when you work from the inside out and prioritize that introspection, getting down to the fabric of your soul, and like the accountability that comes with that, the having to stare yourself in the mirror and say, this is the state that I'm in. This is the condition that I'm in, irrespective of what I want to feel or think. Like, this is just matter of fact. Who I am, what I look like, what I feel like, what my life looks like. That's real. And then working on those places first, working from that real source, like where you're talking about touching your freaking backbone with radical candor. It's like you go from there, start chiseling the carbon off at that, core cross mantle level. Eventually, yeah, everything that's going to be on the outside, like you're talking about 100 pounds, it's an inevitability, rather. Whereas the opposite is not true. You can try to polish a turd as much as you want, but like eventually it's going to still stink and be rancid. Whereas it sounds like you found mental clarity, happiness. Being depressed sucks. Feel happy, to feel purposeful, to feel positive, to feel able, to not be afraid, like walking around scared with the scarcity mindset sucks. But having confidence and love and abundance, like, man, it can be a cloudy day. You can have a lot of stress going on in life or work, but you just feel able to get it done. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, like, hey, I lost some weight too. Cool. Whereas, again, the opposite is just not the case. And it sounds like you really, really, really are loyal to those reasons for continuing to do what you've done. Like, you're coming up on a year now, I believe, with this way of eating. And, for people that do this for various reasons, the ones that do have extreme issues and conditions, health conditions and otherwise going on, like, yeah, they're pretty freaking loyal to it, because if they step away or deviate, like, those things come back. And for some of them, it's life altering. It sounds pretty similar to you.
Yeah, I would say you're spot on. In fact, perspective is really everything in life. I mean, I've experienced it. I've had really great outward success in life, and have been the most miserable that I've ever been. Made the most money I ever did in, I think, 2021. Had a beautiful girlfriend. I had and still do have, I believe, the greatest friends in the world. I had everything that would have checked off. This would make me happy. This will fill my cup. That was the darkest time that I had ever been in, which led me to doing therapy and taking, antidepressants, and, both worked, and I still do therapy. I love therapy. I don't think there's a single human on this planet that wouldn't benefit from therapy. It's a professional ear. Most people, we suck at listening. We're not good. Because even right now, hearing you talk, I'm thinking, yeah, what am I going to say next?
Wait
and that's
until
how we
respond,
operate.
baby. Wait until respond.
Yeah. And so that, and just taking the pressure off of, I don't want to burden anybody with my, my demons. So if I pay you, that's different. I'm not burdening you. You're, working for this, which is just a weird thing I had to overcome. But a professional trained ear talking to my counselor, it's been amazing. Anyways, all that said, life was outwardly very good. I was miserable. And there's been times where, okay, working in the mortgage industry, this market sucks. Yeah. Like, it is not a pretty market. And, being relatively new to the industry, when things started getting bad, or, interest rates started really spiking, had nothing. I truly lived paycheck to paycheck, and went over that with credit cards.
Yep.
And until things started to kind of pick up, and just business kind of, anyways, during that time, some of the best times I've ever had, the best I've ever felt. And so the external while it's nice, would I rather cry in a Bugatti versus a bicycle? Sure. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean much. I'm right there with you. I think everything you said was spot on. Truly. Worldly success, while great, while fun, it's fleeting. It's not lasting. It's not gonna give you that feeling that you think it will. You gotta start with the inside, and like you said, just going to the straight to the backbone of, I gotta have these things in check. And if somebody uses that as their why of doing anything in life, doesn't even have to be fitness or diet or whatever, but if they have a strong why, they will change. So rock bottom gets shit on. Look at this guy, homeless, or I love rock bottom. I've been at rock bottom a couple times in life, and the beauty about
push off.
Exactly. If you're in a pool and you're sinking, you finally hit rock bottom, you can jump right back up.
That's right.
And so, while success most of the time for people it looks like this, and it just kind of gradually goes up, when you're at rock bottom, most of the stories that I've seen that do this, it's people that start from rock bottom. And so while it's not a place that you want to be at, certainly not a place you want to stay at, it is one of the greatest places that you can start from.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's back against the wall. I love that you said the pool thing, because I used to play a game with some friends underwater, and one day I was wrestling for the ball from one of the guys, trying to get it from him, and I couldn't, and we came out of the water. I was like, dude, how'd you do that? You were like glued on the ground. He's like, dude, it's the best place to be, underwater. Like, what? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I have all the leverage in the world. Like, I get on my back down there. It's like, come and get me. I can just lay down here. Like, you're going to be floating and fighting buoyancy to try to get. He's like, it's perfect. And then when I need to come up, I just push off. I was like, oh yeah, how about that? It's true. It gives you something to kick from. Again, it's the wall you're backed against, into the corner, whatever. It's something for you to brace off and give you some momentum to get started again. Did you ever think that you'd find what you found on a diet that you thought you were going to quit 2 days into?
No. My hope was that, actually, I really didn't even bring this up, but the brain fog, it wasn't even the mental health per se, but brain fog is something that I had for a good 2 months before starting Carnivore. And I always thought brain fog was BS. When somebody said they had brain fog, I thought to myself, well, that's a lazy person. Or, just focus. Like, it's that simple. Just focus. It's not. I learned in that 2 months of, I can't focus. This was me. I'd grab my phone. Instagram, okay, close it. Facebook, okay, close it. TikTok, okay, close it. Instagram, close it. Instagram again. I was just on Instagram, close it. And I would do that for a couple hours at a time. And even in the office, I would do it. Couldn't do a 2-minute task. And I'm not that person. I'm not all over the place. That's never been me, but I just could not focus. If you said, hey, Ray, stare at this pencil for 60 seconds, I'll give you $1 million. I'm not walking away any richer. And so, yeah, being able to focus and the limitless pill, it really is that. I feel like I unlocked a part of my brain that just has been dormant my entire life. It's unreal. It is unreal.
It's funny you talk about, being a loan officer and mortgage rates and business going up and down. I was right there with you, man. 2021. I used to work in real estate in Manhattan and in Miami.
Okay.
Residential.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun, but very volatile, and especially those markets. But same thing, top of the world, all the one of the best banner years in finance as far as in earnings, all the cool things, great place, but was a mess inside, And that's when I just kind of started getting into my carnivore world a year prior to that. But I truly found competitive and comparative advantage in my work because of how I was eating. Now, was it just because how I was eating? It was like, no, it was because how I was feeling because of what I was eating. and what I was not, consuming, and just being able to go, dude, I haven't eaten all day today. I've been standing at my desk. I've been running around open, showing places, hosting open houses, prospecting, doing some recon and intel. Like, I haven't had a lick of food. Oh well, no need. And then the next day, maybe I'm like, all right, let me pack like one nice like OMAD thing with a bunch of eggs and ground beef and some bacon and seafood or something like that. And people would watch me eat and they'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like we're gonna go to wherever and get a matinee meal and maybe catch drinks or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to be out of the office by like noon. So y'all can go do that. But kind of what you're talking about, like finishing your work at noon, I would go work out in the morning, be at the office sometimes at like 7, like maybe 8, but early for sure. And literally be trying to like just hammering through stuff until, I'd be watching the clock for noon, trying to be like, all right, let me see if I can get out of here before noon, where
Yeah.
some people are just walking in. Maybe they're hungover. Maybe they had other things going on. Hey, like you, single, no dependence. There's a lot of freedom in that. And I'm not discounting anyone that's got obligations otherwise, especially with family and kids and whatnot.
Sure.
But hey, people, if you are single and you don't have dependence and you're trying to break through in your career or as an entrepreneur or in anything, like it takes some, good tarn, like getting into it. Like you've got to be committed, driven. And I find this to be a huge advantage in doing that. Like I said, competitively and comparatively, I could go longer, I could last longer, I could outwork, out hustle, I could just outthink. Kind of you talking about the clarity of mind. I was able to out idea people, out conceptualize, and then have the belief and self confidence to go get it. There was no like, I don't know, gee whiz, this idea sounds kind of sour. Like how I was just like, oh yeah, I'm doing that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Oh, I need to get this many listings. Or yep, I'm okay, sure. Two kinds of people, two kinds of climbers. I like mountaineering metaphors. Two kinds of climbers. We're standing at the bottom of the mountain, and I look at you, and I look at the mountain. I go, God, Ray, how are we gonna get up there? It's really far. And you look at me, and you're like, Jake, you know how freaking amazing it's going to look from the top? What's the difference? But Ray, I don't know how we're going to get up there, Jake, but we're going to figure it out. Like it's going to be a blast. And that photo from the top of the world, it's going to be legendary. That's not saying to be stupid or reckless, but people are in the dark, man, because of what they eat and how they live. Their dreams are dead, their self-belief, their creativity, their ability to sustain, to tolerate is diminished and dwindled because of what they do to themselves by what they put into their bodies. I say the single most effective thing we can do as human beings in regard to our health is controlling what we put into our mouths. And it sounds like you're on that train too now.
You're spot on. You are so spot on. Shoot, even the competitive advantage. I've had some phenomenal months in this industry. Again, this industry, not good. It's not a good time to be in real estate. It's not a fun time. You are working 10 times as harder to get less fruit than what you would in any other, market in the last over a decade. And so having these phenomenal months as a loan officer, I got colleagues, leadership reaching out to me. Hey, what are you doing differently? What's the strategy? What's working? And I have no special answer other than, hey, I'm just stewarding the rest of my life well. And it starts with diet. I feel phenomenal. I can actually think. I can use my brain. And yeah, I've always been somebody that if it's you and I, and it's, hey, whoever's the hardest worker, I'm going to outwork you. I've been that way since about 12 years old. Had a stepdad that whooped that into me, and it stuck, and I'm very thankful for that.
One of the good men.
Yeah. And so outworking people, not an issue, but if you can use both, the brain and the brawn, that's fantastic. That's nobody's stopping you. Yeah. And so there's nothing different that I'm doing. I follow everything that I've followed for the last 3-4 years, and it's strictly just diet, how you said it, what you put into your mouth, we should control that, especially in this day and age where it's just so willy-nilly of, hey, eat whatever, everything in moderation,
Yeah.
like just a little bit of poison in moderation. And, if somebody wants to live that way, by all means, I don't care. It has zero impact on me. But if somebody actually looked at themselves and said, am I really happy with how I look? More importantly, do I feel really good?
Yeah.
I think most would change something. And I'm not somebody that thinks everybody needs to be carnivore. I think 99% of humans, if they did it, they would feel the best they've ever felt in their life.
Yeah.
And then they would get bored, and then they would slowly add foods back in. And they would be able to pinpoint exactly what their body thrives on, what it's indifferent to, and it really doesn't like that. I can have ice cream every once in a while, but I know it's going to make me feel like trash for 2 days. Or, same with alcohol or vegetables, fill in the blank. I don't care. If somebody wants to suck on rocks for the rest of their life and see how far it takes them, do it. You're not hurting somebody else. I'm still going to sleep like a baby. Do you? But I think if most did this, like borderline everybody, golly, their life would change. It would change drastically.
I agree. I sat with some rocket scientists earlier this year, literal rocket scientists, okay, which is really cool. And was talking to them to try to kind of like audit their productivity, proficiency, workplace capacity, things like this, to try to squeeze out more time. Deadlines are crazy in aerospace and rocketry, like go figure. Everything's changing, and it's like we're supposed to be on this, but they're just crazy hyper hours, as it should be. But still, they have questions too, like anybody else. They're trying to figure this out and create more efficiency and productivity amidst all that chaos and whatnot. And so I'm hearing them all talk and what's going on. And okay, that's a signpost, that's a roadblock, that's a choke point. Okay, there's the funnel, that's the bottleneck right there. Like all the lean sense of operations, like going through my mind, right? Like seeing the sequence of orders. How do you guys eat? Do you drink alcohol? I hear all that, and they're all like kind of like eyes are on me. What's the secret? What's your strategy to create fluidity amidst all this? A more fluid productivity. I'm like, what's your diets like? And they were all like, what? Like, where's he going? Like, it was an immediate kind of like, ugh, like lame. Like, it's not like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Like, I was like, what are your diets like? They're like, what? I was like, do y'all drink alcohol? What? Like, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I kind of eat like this. All right. How many times a day do you eat? Typically, we break for lunch. Sometimes I have breakfast in the morning. If it's a long day, we'll break for dinner and maybe we'll have drinks, even that, and kind of come back to the office. If it's not like an on-site day where we're just kind of in the office, like, might have a drink or something. Okay. So 2, maybe 3 times throughout the day, you're this and that. What's your fatigue like? What's your level of mental fitness and endurance ability like? Do you have a diminishing return and, trying to do calculations and stuff? I don't want my rocket scientists to be freaking, starting to get droopy eyed, like, well, they're doing rocketry. No, yeah, we kind of have a pretty bad burn rate, unfortunately. We teeter off at a certain point. I'm like, okay, so got it. Sounds like y'all need about an extra at least 3 hours per day per person, but at like peak capacity. Yeah, that would be awesome. But how are we going to do that? Where are we going to find that? I was like, I'll tell you exactly where you're going to find it. And it's right there in front of you. And it's very simple. Oh my God, please. They all flip their tablets open. Like they're ready to start scribbling. I'm like, you need to change your diets. And I would recommend you doing this one, specifically this way, a strict carnivore diet. You need to not be drinking alcohol. Wait, but I don't understand. Hear me out. You're going to eat 1 meal a day. It's going to satisfy you physically. It's going to give you your nourishment that you're going to need. You'll be satiated physically within your body. You won't be hungry. You'll be able to operate this way, What? Are you? I'm like, you asked me how to find more time in your day. You asked me how to give you more productivity. You asked me how to allow you to perform better at what you do in your job and your career path. I have given you that solution. You don't like it. That's fine.
Yeah.
And to your kind of point about it, my opinion or belief, Ray, is they don't want that to be the truth. Hell, I don't want that to be the truth. Like, oh God, don't tell me that as long as I eat this way, this cleanly, and think this way, and have good thoughts and do good deeds, that I'll be a good man and I'll have a good life. It's like, God, even I can't just have a little powder on the side, or a
Yeah.
little bit of corruption in my mind or on my plate, like just a teeny. It's like, you know where that story goes, Jake. You've already done that. Like, it's back there. And somebody told me this a while back, was the new life that you want, that happiness, all the good things, that new life is going to cost you the old one. That's the ante. That's what is required for you to pony up with on the table if you want to play. And so when I told these people that, they were like, okay. I mean, like, I can't argue it. Quantitatively, it made sense to them just because of the hours. But I think conceptually they were like, oh, this is ridiculous. And I think as human beings, that's the true challenge. I don't think the difficulty is adhering to the diet. Where I'm going with this long-winded metaphor is, I don't believe the difficulty is adhering to the diet. I believe this true struggle is trusting your own damn feelings when they start to happen. When you start to feel the way you do and you go, there's no way I'm feeling this way just because I stopped eating whatever, or I stopped drinking, or I stopped thinking that way. And the fact that I continue to feel this way by fueling myself the way that I am, because we've been so broken in what is supposed to be right, or how we're supposed to be genuine to these feelings, because they've been so oppressed or just destroyed over time, that when they start to come through, you're just like, I can't believe it.
Golly, that was so well put. That was so well put. I think you're right. I think another layer of it too is like, people are just afraid that this is the answer. Have you ever read the book? It's my second book reference. I'm not even a strong reader. I read once in a blue moon. These are probably the two books I've read in my life. But Seven Habits of Highly Effective People.
Stephen Covey. Never heard of it.
Yeah. I got that book. I had to
It's
read
an
it for
all-timer.
a college class. And I'm thinking, incredible. This is going to unlock the secret to life. Like, I'm going to, this is going to give me all the tools that I need. And which was true. It's just, you read it and then you're like, well, these are so simple. Like, it's not just that. Like, what's the actual secret? Yeah. What's the super hard thing that I do, or that I have to do to achieve this? And it's weird, because diet is something we look at from a double side. That it's really hard. Well, I can't do something forever, or a month without cheating. That's super hard. And on the flip side, we'll look at diet and we'll go, well, that's just too simple. That can't be the reason. But we fill ourselves with these excuses, which I'm not shaming anybody if you're full of excuses. I have been too most of my life. So no judgment. But if we really just take a step back and look, honestly, it was Jordan Peterson saying, just meat. Hell, I could do that for 30 days. I could hang by my fingernails for 30 days. All right. And when he said that, first of all, I thought, bullshit. That makes it sound hard. But when he used that analogy, I'm thinking, is diet really supposed to be that simple? Like, am I overcomplicating it? Because a lot of people think that, I've got to at least have a cheat meal or a cheat day each week. And you really don't. Like, you really don't. The food world that we live in, where we're fortunate to live in, those that say, hey, you got to have a well-rounded diet. It's got to be a well-balanced diet. And you've got to get this and this and this and that, and you've got to get all these different foods in a day, and that's how it's supposed to be. Well, buddy, you're really fortunate to live in the time of history that you do, because this is, of the grand scheme of this world's existence and humans being on it, we're living in a very small fraction of where that's been even remotely possible.
Yep. So
first of all, you're wrong, because we wouldn't have made it this far if that was true. But second of all, you're lucky to live in the world that we do. Because in even that, a thought that runs across my mind pretty frequently in this carnivore space is that, what if shit hits the fan? What if the world goes upside down? Shoot, a nuclear war breaks out and we can't just go to stores or, food chain supply. We can't just walk into a grocery store and pick up whatever we want.
Yep.
Our food is going to come from the nearest forest wherever we're located, or pond or lake or whatever. And most of that is going to be meat or fish or maybe some berries. I don't know about you, but I don't have a banana tree.
Yeah.
I don't have, I've never seen a wild banana or a wild, watermelon.
Yeah.
I've seen berries that, maybe they're poisonous, maybe they're not. But
Yep.
when we get back to nature, I think if humans just got back to nature, that alone, they would see such a difference. But it is daunting. And I think back to pre-carnivore days and thinking how daunting dieting was. And, I've got to kill myself to get to my dream physique. If I want to have abs, I got to work out twice a day, 2-hour sessions each time. 30 minutes of that's abs, hour of that's cardio, and the rest is lifting weights. And it's like,
Yeah.
for me, that was not sustainable. I did it for a period of time, but it's not. It's not that hard. It sounds hard. It sounds extremely hard. Shoot, most things we haven't done sound extremely hard. When I first learned how to play poker, or somebody asked if I wanted to play, no. Now I'm like, hell yeah, let's play. Give me your money. But most things that we end up doing, once we get a taste for it, it's like, oh, this actually isn't as hard or scary as I thought it would be. And a lot of people, it's just having that initial, I'm going to try it. We're just going to see. We're just going to see, and, it'll give me results or it won't, and I'll be on my way. But our minds are so skewed to actual reality.
Yeah, man. I think that the great debate of diets, as far as in what's the best, what's the healthiest, is never going to be settled so long as it pits emotions against utility. I'm from wherever. I grew up however. My family is whatever. My religion says this. My culture says this. My society says this. I have all these emotional attachments to foods. I have reasons to eat them because of my lineage, because of my heritage, my culture, whatever. Okay, that's one side. The other side is utility, meaning strict matter of fact, how something makes me feel after I eat it. Period. There's no emotion to attach on that. There's no culture. There's no religion. There's no society. There's no family. It's just how something makes me feel. My lightning bolt moment was several years ago. It was with my family at our place in Mexico. And my aunt, and who and I used to have a bottle of wine every night after work together, or maybe 2 or 3. She's opening up a bottle, and she takes it for her first sip, and she's like, God, I love this stuff, but every time I drink red wine, I get a headache. And my uncle from another part of the house, he's like, well, then you shouldn't drink red wine. And we're like, like true story. Like, but whatever. Yeah. Man, we knock him down, But that's so true. Like I didn't know it at the time, but it was like a foreshadowing aha moment that I would draw from later. Because how many of us say like, God, pizza makes me bloated and gassy as hell, but I eat the shit out of it. Don't care. You talked about ice cream. Man, it makes me feel like crap for 2 days, but I don't care. I'm eating it. Insert whatever you want for that food and how you feel or what kind of emotional attachment you have to it, irrespective of how it makes you feel physically or what it does to you, maybe to your mental health or emotional state, whatever. That sensation, that pleasurable credit that it gives you is, for most people, where more loyalty lies and where more direction lies as far as in food choices than does the utility. And that's why I say that I think as long as it pits emotions against utility, it's never going to be a settled debate. And I think that, I know, and I believe you would agree, when you go down diet like this one, an elimination diet, even though to me, it's more of a joyful sense of abundance than it is eliminating. It's really like cutting the drag out. We're trying to fly this sucker better, and I'm trying to reduce some drag. Well, what do you mean? Like if it's an elimination diet? Okay, well, if I'm trying to get a hot air balloon off the ground and there's a bunch of bricks in the basket, it's not really going to lift too well. So like, got to jettison some of these bricks in order to get this thing to fly the way it was meant to. That's what I feel this is. It's not so much of an elimination diet. It's more of a liberation diet. And I feel that if more people would try, like you said, just give it a shot, you would feel like, oh my God. Okay. And then you go into the realm or the depths of arguing with yourself because of your feelings versus your emotions. And that, I think, is the difficult piece to get to, because all those distractions, all those societal norms and familial, traditions and things you grew up with, habits, conditioning. It's hard to break those chains. But the more that you do and start to realize, like, God, I grew up loving blueberry banana pancakes because they remind me of my father. They remind me of childhood. And I'm trying to cling on to that. But every time I eat them, I don't sleep well. I get a little depression, maybe a little soreness in the foot. The inflammation comes back. But man, I tell you what, I eat these ribeyes and this steak. Ain't none of that.
Yeah.
But I can't not want to argue with it, because I want those other things to still be in my life. Still, right now, as I sit, I still want those blueberry and banana pancakes to be in my life somehow. And my brain and my mind are fighting for ways to try to find that to be the case. Emotion.
Yeah.
On the utility side, it's like a metronome of consistency. You eat this, you will feel this way, period. No ifs, ands, buts, or qualms about it. Whereas, no, but I'm trying to hold on to my emotions over there because I want to remember childhood and try to. It's like, okay, go ahead. You're gonna feel the way you're gonna feel, and you're not gonna like it.
Dude, you're speaking truth. The way I describe it to people, because everybody wants to know, do you ever cheat? You got to reward yourself at some point. One, no, you don't have to. Two, I haven't, at least yet. But it's a lot more like, it's like being in a relationship, whether you're married or committed relationship. It's not that every other woman is now hideous and butt ugly to me. I've got the only attractive person in my life. I've yet to come across a relationship that made me feel that way. I can still look at women and go, yeah, that's a very beautiful woman. But if I love, what I've got, then when I see another woman, I'm not sitting there, going after it. I'm really, truly content with what I have. And that's kind of how it is with food. Like, I'm with you. It's not that ice cream and pizza, two of my all-time greatest weaknesses, it's not that those repulse me. I'm not sitting there, gagging when I see a pizza. No, it looks good. Looks phenomenal.
It smells great.
Watching. Yeah, it smells phenomenal. Bread in general, the bakery. Even in America, where our bread's trash, it smells really good. Yeah. But I'm so content with what I got. I know that this will yield much greater results. I'll be much happier if I stick with this versus if I just, veer off just for a quick romp in the sheets. I know what that'll lead to.
Yeah.
Versus, being loyal. But again, I'm not somebody that thinks, hey, everybody needs to be carnivore. Everybody has to be carnivore. Clearly, humans can live a long, good life having a wide variety diet.
Yeah.
But there's so many things that we've just classified as normal. I go out to eat with friends. We all have a big meal. I eat probably more than any of them. And every time, like clockwork, oh, I ate too much. Oh, nap time.
Yeah.
Oh, heartburn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna, it's bedtime. And it's like, those things are normal. Oh, joint pain. Oh, I got back pain. I'm in my 20s. Those aren't normal. But we've normalized them, but those are not normal things. There's few people that should have issues. And most that do have those issues, almost all of it could be solved through diet. And again, If somebody wants to live that way, by all means. This isn't. I'm not sitting here. You need to
Neither
do this. You
judges
need to
nor
do this.
critics.
Yeah, if you want to, if you're good with that, hey, I really don't care how I look, and I really don't care how I feel. I
God
just,
bless you.
on my life here on Earth, I just want to eat good food. Great, do it. But you can't gripe and moan and complain when it catches up with you, because it's a choice. It is a choice. You got to earn the right to cry. I had a football coach that used to say that. Hey, earn the right to cry. At the end of the season, there's only one team that's happy. And if you didn't put in the work, before the season started, you can't sit there and bawl your eyes out because you lost in the state finals. It's like, geez, coach, I'm 16. uh, but truly, that's played such a positive role in just about every other area of life, and now diet included. I use that metaphor of like, hey, earn the right to cry. If you're sitting there saying, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've tried everything. Have you?
Bingo.
What have you tried so far? I mean, I did, Whole Foods for a couple days. Okay. Not dogging on Whole Foods, but anything for a couple days probably isn't going to yield you the results that you want.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, earn the right to cry.
That is awesome. That dude, 26 years young. I don't know where you wandered and where you talk about not reading much. You've clearly read something. You've taken some doses somewhere to put you on a right path, man. Because you're level-headed, well thought, well spoken, extremely articulate. I'm just really impressed, man. For, like I said, 26-year-old. I know where I was at 26. And sure as hell wasn't there. I wasn't thinking like that. Like, my goodness, man, it's awesome. Awesome to listen to.
I appreciate that. I've been very fortunate to live a lot of life early. That's a challenging upbringing, and I'm so thankful for that.
Well, that's awesome. Damn, it's awesome. I want to ask you before we get out of here, what some of your favorite things to cook and eat. When you talk about the palatability of things, you got a pretty good greatest hits list, yeah?
Oh man, I don't even know if I'm a good person to ask. I see people post food. I'm like, shoot, maybe I shouldn't even be in a kitchen. I can make a mean steak. I love
Heck
steak.
yeah.
My all-time staple. Like I eat this more than I do steak, and I can eat steak whenever I want to. Ground beef, scrambled eggs, salt, butter. It is bread and butter to me. Like it is just, or chips and salsa. I can eat as much as I want. I'll never get tired of it. It's so good. But bacon, that's a staple. There's people who say, oh, pig's bad, pork's bad. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. All I know is I can eat a lot of bacon and I still feel just as good as when I eat a ribeye steak.
Yeah.
But all steaks, ribeye's got to take number one. But as far as number one food, just eggs and ground beef. It's that simple. It is that simple.
It's probably something that's hard for you to wrap your head around too. It's been almost a year now, and here you are still saying that, thinking like, is it ever going to get old, or am I ever going to get tired of it?
You would think so. Gosh, because
I did.
everybody thinks so. It's their first question. When do you cheat? Like, or how often do you eat whatever? I don't crave it.
That's awesome, dude. 100 pounds gone, gained back, gone again. Depression gone, mental clarity's there, sleep has improved, overall mood, sense of self, personal worth, career, interpersonal relationships. It sounds like a lot of good things going. Man, where do we see you more of, Ray? How do we connect with you in your community? And
Instagram, it's just Carnivore Ray _, and then TikTok, it's Carnivore Ray. I'm on every social platform. Those are really the only two that I'm active on, you could say.
Yeah. Awesome. We're going to have all the goodies for Ray and how to connect with him, how to sign up for his community in the show notes. And one more question. I almost forgot. I'm glad I remembered. Where did the not giving a rip come from? Tell us the origin story of why Ray Hicks doesn't give a rip.
I don't give a rip. That's you're going to be disappointed. I have no idea. I've said that for as long as I can remember. And I can also pinpoint that nobody cared that I said it. It just, on social media, people heard that and they're like, what is this? But I was tagged in a video recently with, what was that guy that used to, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Steve, animal guy, crocodile hunter.
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin.
Oh, the goat. The goat.
Forgive me for forgetting your name. He was the GOAT. I remember watching him, growing up a ton.
Heck yeah, man.
Loved Crocodile Hunter.
Heck yeah.
Somebody tagged me in a video where he was going off on some tangent, and he goes, "I don't give a rip." And I didn't have some crazy flashback, but that's got to be it, because I don't know anybody else that says it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it truly, as somebody who curses quite a bit, at least in my profession, I'm respectful around women and children, but I never want to be overly offensive in settings like that. And so I don't give a rip. It's just it's a friendly way to get the point across in any setting that you're in.
Love that.
Yeah.
I might have to take
Crocodile Hunter.
Might have to take a little bit of that from you. I've been getting some tone it downs from the vulgar police here and there. Sometimes, like, dude,
yeah,
they got a lot of F-bombs. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm trying. It's a lot better than it was militarily, that's for sure. But yeah, and dude, now I really love you. You're paying homage to my man Steve Irwin. Like, we are long lost somehow, dude. That was my guy growing up. Like,
yeah.
I don't give a rip. Like, okay, like now I'm thinking about it. It's like, yeah, nobody else says that. Where else would you have heard that too? That's got to be. I think it's a great story. That's not disappointing at all. It's extremely uplifting.
Well, good. Yeah, it's a good saying. I encourage others to say it.
Well, I'm going to do the same, man. Well, Ray, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing your inspiration, all that. It's just awesome to have you here, man. It's good to talk with you finally. I really appreciate the time. Thank you.
Jake, I appreciate you. It was a true honor being here. Thank you.
Everybody else, this is another episode of Sick, Scared, and Stupid. Had a blast today with Carnivore Ray, and yeah, maybe if we all didn't give a rip about a lot of other things, life wouldn't be so bad either. So take note from Ray on that one. Another episode in the books. I'm your host, Jake Thomas. We'll see you next time.